2019 has brought some major cinematic events, many of which help set up some of the films coming up in 2020 with other fascinating, frightening, and exciting movies. The year overdosed with one hit after another, from Joker to The Lion King. Still, it also saw the arrival of some highly awaited horror movies, including Midsommar, It Chapter 2, and Dr. Sleep. Hello everyone, welcome back to Unlimited Movies. Today we're going to show you top 10 movies of January 2020. Before we get started, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, press the bell icon to stay updated with our new videos. There are no major franchise entries in the month of January 2020, but it has movies for all, with a very generous dose of horror and suspense, with remakes, adaptations, and more. Here are the biggest movies for January 2020. Number 10, The Rhythm Section. If you're not in a mood for horror movies, check out The Rhythm Section, Reed Morano's action drama. It follows Stephanie Patrick, Blake Lively, a woman trying to discover the truth behind a plane crash that killed her family, based on Mark Brunell's novel of the same name. In the end, Patrick learns the accident was not an accident and goes on a search to track down those responsible for it. Jude Rule, Sterling K. Brown, and Max Casella will also star. Number 9, Hansel and Gretel. The nightmare continues in the last days of the month with Gretel and Hansel from Oz Perkins. The movie follows Sophia Lillis, who plays Gretel, who leads her little brother Sam Leakey as Hansel in a dark forest in order to search for food, based on the German folklore tale of Hansel and Gretel by the Brothers Grimm. But the woods conceal a lot of dark secrets. A creepy witch is here for sure, but her house certainly isn't made of sugar. It's a bit of a darker take on the famous story, and in the first place, maybe that's exactly how the story should be. Number 8, Color Out of Space. Color Out of Space is a horror movie based on H.P.'s short story, The Color Out of Space. Lovecraft, with Nicolas Cage starring. The tale follows the Gardner family who, after inheriting a rural family estate near Arkham, Massachusetts, move out of the area. The Gardners find themselves fighting a mutated extraterrestrial organism after a meteorite falls in their front yard, which can infect their minds and bodies too. It's as wild and twisted as you would imagine from a story about Lovecraft. Number 7, The Last Full Measure. Thanks to The Last Full Measure, January will also get its own dose of war drama. It tells the true story of the hero of the Vietnam War, William H. Pitsenbarger, played by Jeremy Irvin, who rescued over 60 men in one of the hardest fights of the war before making the ultimate sacrifice. 32 years later, Pentagon staffer Scott Huffman, played by Sebastian Stan, investigates Pitsenbarger's application for a Medal of Honor. Huffman then seeks the testimony of veterans who witnessed the actions of Pitsenbarger, but also reveals a high-level conspiracy behind the medal's long rejection. Number 6, The Gentleman. The Gentleman, starring Matthew McConaughey, Michelle Dockery, Charlie Hunnam, Colin Farrell, Hugh Grant, and Henry Golding, returns to the action crime genre with Guy Ritchie. The Gentleman followed American immigrant Mickey Pearson, who became wealthy by building a marijuana empire in London. Still, when news comes out that he's attempting to sell his business, a number of plots and schemes begin to arise from those who want his fortune. It's the kind of action and comedy you'd expect from a movie from Guy Ritchie. Number 5, Dolittle. A new version of Dr. Dolittle is coming, and this one has Robert Downey Jr. as the title character, and several well-known actors voicing various animals. In 19th century England, Dr. John Dolittle lived in isolation behind his manor's walls after his wife's death, his only companion being an assortment of exotic animals to whom he spoke every day. Dolittle is forced to go on an epic quest to a mythical island searching for a cure when Queen Victoria, Jessie Buckley, falls ill. A journey that will help him recover his wit and bravery, while also meeting all the types of monsters. John Cena, Emma Thompson, Rami Malek, Tom Holland, Kumail Nanjiani, Octavia Spencer, Ralph Fiennes, and many more belong to Dolittle's voice cast. Number 4, Bad Boys for Life. From the franchise Bad Boys, the third sequel with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith back as the detective duo Burnett and Lowry comes 17 years after Bad Boys 2 was released. Bad Boys for Life, directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Falal, sees Burnett and Lowry parting ways. Burnett has become a police inspector. Lowry is assigned to lead a squad of millennial policemen named Young Guns. However, after a mafia boss searches for vengeance against them, they join forces one last time, just as they are about to formally retire. Number 3, Like a Boss. Come Like a Boss for those in a mood for some humor. The film, directed by Miguel Arteta, follows two friends with very different values. Mia Carter, played by Tiffany Haddish, and Mel Page by Rose Byrne, who decided to start a beauty business together. Still, things take a turn when industry titan Claire Luna, played by Salma Hayek, shows interest in the firm and offers to buy it out to get them out of debt. Like a Boss was originally planned for release in June 2019, but was pushed back to January 2020, and this time it's being released for real. Number 2, Underwater. Underwater is directed by William Eubank and is a sci-fi horror movie starring Kristen Stewart, Vincent Cassel, Jessica Henwick, and John Gallagher Jr. The crew of underwater researchers who, while at their station at the bottom of the ocean, are terrorized by strange creatures. They must run to safety after an earthquake devastates the station while still avoiding all the hazards that hide in the ocean's darkness. And no, it's not a movie about Cloverfield. Before we move on to the last pick, here are some honorable mentions. Just Mercy. Just Mercy is a strong and thought-provoking true tale. Follows young lawyer Brian Stevenson, played by Jordan, and struggles for justice to make history. Brian had his pick of lucrative jobs after he graduated from Harvard. Instead, with the help of a local advocate, Eva Ainsley, he travels to Alabama to protect those falsely accused or have not been given fair representation. One of his first and most incendiary cases is that of Walter McMillan, played by Fox, who was sentenced to death in 1987. He was sentenced to death for the infamous murder of an 18-year-old child, despite a preponderance of proof showing his innocence and the fact that the only evidence against him came from a suspect with a reason to lie. As he battles for Walter and those like him in the years that follow, Brian becomes entangled in a maze of legal and political maneuverings and transparent and unabashed bigotry, with the odds in the system stacked against them. Elsewhere, still grieving his wife's death, Bruno is hopelessly attached to the cottage they built together on the seaside. Bruno promises to get it back at any price when his soulless in-laws evict him. Desperate to flee his parents' gracious yet neurotic hosting, he sets in motion a dangerous scheme to reclaim his home. Posing as a handyman for the cottage's intriguing new occupant turns his life upside down and his intentions, a movie packed with comedy and drama to the utmost. Tattilla The Final Cut. A Los Angeles couple, Tattilla and Dan, find themselves out of sorts at a busy airport after a failed attempt to reconnect on a European holiday. It is only when a random Danish vagabond asks for a ride that their palpable pressure gets worse. Dan is captivated by the young traveler, prompting Tattilla's objections, and invites him home. An unexpected partnership unfolds, much to their surprise. Discover how sudden moments change hearts and lives based on the true story of the director and authors. Number 1, The Grudge. After waiting for 16 long years for the American remake of the Japanese horror movie Ju-on the Grudge, it is getting the remake treatment, both directed by Takashimi Shimazui. A single mother and a detective, played by Andrea Riseborough, investigate the Grudge, who learns that a suburban house is cursed by a vengeful spirit that dooms with a violent death anyone who dares to join it. Not just she has to save herself, but also her son, as she'll be pursued even outside the house by those demonic spirits. This latest version is the 4th entry in the film series Grudge, and is not properly considered a remake, but rather a sequel, since the events in this one take place at the same time as those in the 2004 version. Alright, we have reached the end of this video. Go ahead and choose the movie that interests you the most and watch it. Pro advice, watch them all. They are worth it. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. Drop your comments below about your favorite movie from Dwayne and Y. That's a wrap. See you in the next video.